Hello everybody, this is Great Gabe again. This is my third lesson over arrays. So, arrays are pretty easy to understand. Basically, arrays are variables that can hold multiple pieces of data or info. So basically what that means is if you're going to declare an integer array called R and say has 4 things, then that means that the int is of course the data type, and the R part is the variable name, and then the 4 part is the index, or the amount of data that's being stored. So that's basically how that works. So if that being said, is if I declared the integer R of 4, I can initialize it with let's say it holds a 1, 2, 5, and a 9. It would look just like that. And each indice that's the first, the second, that's the third, and that's the fourth. And it can only hold 4. If you go over, you're going to have problems. If you go under, I don't think you're going to have problems, but it's probably better if you know what you're storing inside of an array before you start using it. So let's go ahead and start. Let's go ahead and declare an integer called array with 4 indices just to see what happens. And then we're going to put 1, 2, 5, 9. And then we shall see out index number 1, which is going to be R subscript 0. So these indices, you can call it indice 0 or you can call it subscript 0. So it's basically the same thing, aka subscript. So yeah, let's go ahead and display the rest of them. Index number 2, array 1, and L, see out, index number 3, R2, and L, see out, index number 4, R3. Okay. And so now that we have all of that, and we'll go ahead and hit F7 to compile, and then F5 to display. And there we go. 1, 2, 5, 9, just as they are stored. Now, problems happen when you try to display past that. Blank index. Array of 4, which is bad, that'd be the 5th index. See, and it will succeed when we compile, but when you try to display it, bam, you get a runtime error. It says it's being used without being initialized because there is a whole other indice that is left there. Now, that being said, if I put a comma here and just left that empty, yes, it would again compile. And you know, it's all the same thing. So you have to be careful when using arrays, because that is basically not good. That's no bueno. So Control K, Control C, and Shift F5 to stop debugging. And let's go ahead and move on. That up here is what we call a one-dimensional array. What we can also use is something called, oops, getting ahead of myself, two-dimensional array, which is basically int r2d, be 5 numbers, I suppose, and then 3 things inside each of them. And what this means is that this is going to be 2, 3, 5, and then the next part is going to be 3, 4, 6, and then the next part is going to be 6, 7, 8, and let's go ahead and put 4, 3 or 2, 7, 0, and then lastly 4, 5, 6, and we close that up. And there, ladies and gentlemen, oh, forgot to put a comma here. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is our 2D array. Basically, it says it's going to hold 5 different other arrays, and each of those arrays is going to hold 3 objects. So our first indice holds 3 objects, and our second 3, third 3, that extra comma does not need to be there, and fourth 3, and our final 3. So if we're going to display something in a two-dimensional array, okay, then we're going to put something like this. Display. And we're going to put maybe R2D1, and then we'll put 1, and then we'll end the line. And we'll see what happens. Well, first off, just so we have some extra space there. And as you see, it displayed 4, which is our 1, 1. Let me try to organize this a little bit better. Well, it should display this number. Oh, I'm sorry. I put the wrong numbers in. It would display this number. Because this is our second part of the array, because this isn't 0. So that would be 1. And then that would be 2, because this would have to be 0. So that would also be 4. So it displays this number. So I hope you're following me. This would be indices 0, subscript 0. So it skips that and it goes to subscript 1, which is here. And then that number would be subscript 0, because that's how it's supposed to start if you remember our one-dimensional array. And then it becomes 4. So what I was trying to display was indices 0, 0. Yes. and that would be 2, this number right here.